Have you ever felt like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? Like no matter how hard you try, life keeps throwing more challenges your way? But Jesus also showed us a way to overcome these difficulties. If you want to know about that path, stay with us. By the end of this video, you will have learned the secret to handling difficulties. Before we move ahead, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. If you love Jesus, be sure to become a part of our community. I want to tell you about Sarah, a young mother I met recently. Last Tuesday, she sat in her car outside her workplace, hands gripping the steering wheel, fighting back tears. She'd just learned her position was being eliminated, right when her husband's medical bills were piling up and their youngest needed special therapy. "I've always been strong," she whispered, "but I don't know how much more I can take." Maybe you've been there too. That moment when you wonder if you're strong enough to weather another storm. When your resilience feels like a candle flame flickering in the wind. But what if I told you that Jesus himself revealed the secret to unshakable strength? A kind of resilience that doesn't depend on our own power, but taps into something far greater. You see, when we look at Jesus' teachings, particularly in the Gospel of Matthew, we find something fascinating. It's not just about being tough or pushing through on our own. It's about something much more profound and surprisingly simple. Let's go back to that moment when Jesus was teaching his disciples about true strength. In Matthew 11:28-30, he says something that might seem counterintuitive at first. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Now, if you're like Sarah, or like many of us, you might be thinking, rest? Easy? Light? My problems feel anything but light right now. But here's where Jesus reveals something revolutionary about resilience. You see, in Jesus' time, a yoke was a wooden beam used to join two oxen together. The younger, inexperienced ox would be paired with an older, stronger one. The stronger ox would bear the brunt of the burden and teach the younger one how to work effectively. When Jesus offers us his yoke, he's not just giving us another burden to carry. He's inviting us into a partnership where he bears the heavier part of our load. This is the first key to true resilience, understanding that we were never meant to carry our burdens alone. But there's more to this secret. Jesus demonstrated this principle throughout his ministry in ways that completely transform how we view strength. Remember how Jesus handled the storm on the Sea of Galilee? The disciples, experienced fishermen who had seen their share of storms, were terrified. But Jesus remained perfectly calm, demonstrating a peace that transcended circumstances. This brings us to the second key of true resilience. It's not about the absence of storms, but about who's in your boat. Let's return to Sarah's story. That day in her car, she did something that changed everything. She remembered these teachings about Jesus' yoke, about his presence in the storm. Instead of trying to figure everything out alone, she prayed, really prayed, for the first time in months. I felt this overwhelming sense of peace she told me later. Not because my problems disappeared, but because I finally understood I wasn't facing them alone. What happened next was remarkable. Sarah found the courage to reach out to her church community. Through them, she discovered a better job opportunity. Her husband's medical bills were partially covered by a healthcare sharing ministry. And most importantly, she found a new kind of strength, one that didn't depend on her own resources. You see, Jesus showed us that true resilience isn't about having an unshakable spirit on our own. It's about being connected to an unshakable God. In Philippians 4:13, Paul captures this perfectly. I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me. This is the third key to resilience. Our strength multiplies when we're connected to its source. Think about a tree during a storm. The trees that survive aren't usually the most rigid ones. They're the ones with deep roots and flexibility. Jesus teaches us to be like those trees, deeply rooted in Him while remaining flexible enough to bend with life's winds. So what does this mean for you today? Maybe you're facing your own storm. Financial pressure, health challenges, relationship struggles, or something else entirely. Here's what Jesus wants you to know. True resilience comes when we 1. Accept His invitation to share our burden. 2. Trust His presence in our storms. 3. Stay connected to Him as our source of strength. Sarah's story didn't end in that car. In fact, that's where her real story of strength began. Today, she helps other people in her community find their footing when life gets tough. She often says, the secret isn't being unbreakable. It's being connected to the unbreakable one. So today, I invite you to try something. Take a moment right now to give your burdens to Jesus. Feel the weight lift as you accept His yoke. Experience the peace of knowing you're not alone in your storm. Remember, true resilience isn't about never falling. It's about knowing who helps you get back up. If this message spoke to you today, take a moment to share it with someone who might need to hear it. And remember to subscribe to LWN for more insights that bring God's Word to life in your everyday journey. Until next time, stay blessed, stay connected, and stay strong in His strength.